Good afternoon. I'm Tina Tasaka with Cannabis Sex America, and we're here in downtown Phoenix at the Ultimate Women's Expo, and it is just fabulous. I'm almost sad that we're wrapping up today.
It is.
Because, as I started walking around, not only did I get to meet you, but as I started to walk around, some of these booths are just so fantastic. There is a lot to see and a lot to eat.
There is.
There's a lot to eat.
It's
like, oh my gosh, there's some really top-notch stuff, but
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. So I am sitting here with Stacy, and Stacy has been a therapist for 28 years.
I have.
And she is helping people with really incredible problems. Not just so much problems, but she is helping people overcome a lot of things. But she is a therapist, and she's helping people overcome with therapy, and she's working with ketamine.
Absolutely.
But that's not the only thing that you do.
No.
And so she's been working in Arizona here, and she has a company called Guided Journeys here in the Tempe area. And she just does so much. So I'd really love for Stacy to talk about what you do, because it's just, we could talk for a day or more.
Yes.
Or a
Not
month.
enough time to talk about.
Or a month. Or we could go out to the woods together.
Oh, we could.
We could do a tent. We could light some candles, and we could
have a good time.
Oh yeah, we could.
Absolutely.
But I would just love for you to tell the viewers what you do, the services you provide, because you are so experienced, highly experienced. And what you do is no joke.
Thank you.
And it's important to articulate how experienced you are because of what you're dealing with, and the importance of the matter that you're dealing with, that you are dealing with somebody who has traumatic injuries, PTSD of 50 years. Yeah. So take it away, Stacy. Yes, please.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure meeting you, Tina.
Yeah.
It has been a fun weekend so far.
Yeah, for sure.
So yes, I'm a licensed professional therapist of 28 years here in Arizona. I own Iridescent Counseling, which is a group mental health practice. And a few years ago, as ketamine started becoming a more popular mainstream use for depression, anxiety, PTSD, chronic pain, OCD, we were really realizing that it was being done in a medical model, which was just administering the medication and sending clients home and on their way. We really felt like there was a component that was missing. Studies do show that ketamine combined with therapy from a licensed professional therapist, not just a guide or a coach, but a licensed professional therapist, your efficacy rate of long-term permanent brain change, rewiring of the brain, is really where it's at. It's got to be combined with the therapy. So that's where we come into play at Guided Journeys, is to provide that therapeutic component as licensed professional counselors that a coach or somebody who's just trained over the weekend is not necessarily going to have when you have 28 years of experience as a therapist to understand what that person is going through, well, not only with their diagnosis, but then going through with their ketamine journey. So the combination of all that is really where the benefit is.
That is so fantastic. Where does the Veterans Administration stand on that?
The VA is actually supportive of ketamine therapy, which
That's
is absolutely
so fantastic.
Wonderful. It is.
Because they're not standing behind cannabis, really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they're not. The government's not standing behind it. There's, we really struggle in that area. So I wanted to ask that question. Yeah. And, they're not getting any backing whatsoever for cannabis or anything like that, whereby in Canada, all veterans get all of their cannabis paid for.
Well, I did not know that.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Isn't that
That is
amazing?
Yeah.
Don't you just want to send balloons into the air?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's we need to we got a long way to come here.
Especially with our veterans. But VA does support.
So I do love that
ketamine.
Answer. I love that. Okay.
They do.
So they fully support that. Okay.
They do. They support ketamine, but they support it in a different format than we provide it. They support it in a nasal spray version.
Okay.
And the nasal spray version, really statistically speaking, study shows that it is a maintenance program. So it keeps you coming back for more. And our model as therapists is really to do 4 to 6 journeys under ketamine with you. And that is permanent, long-term fix and change. So we're really, as therapists, working ourselves out of a job because we really want permanent change and healing. And with the nasal spray, that's going to just kind of keep you addicted and coming back for more versus the way that we do ketamine, which is permanent, long-term change.
So how will a person come to you?
Anybody who is interested in ketamine, heard about ketamine, knows somebody who has tried ketamine, really come to guided journeys, whether you come through us to do the ketamine or not, to learn about how the process is different. What is different between a medical model of going to a clinic, getting hooked up to an IV, spending time in a sterile room with no set and setting, no music, no environment, no guide with you the entire time or a therapist with you the entire time, and then coming out of that medicine and having a whole integration session where you really understand what the intentions coming in were. What am I working on? Why am I coming to do ketamine therapy? And then what does that mean? What did I experience? What did I see? What did I hear? What did I work through? And how does that relate to my intentions coming in to the medicine session? That's where the therapeutic nature of being a licensed professional therapist of 28 years comes into that mix, as we can connect all of those dots and help put all of that together so that you don't have to keep coming back for more because you don't know what all just connected. So that's the biggest part. So anybody coming, looking for ketamine, heard about ketamine, knows somebody who did ketamine, at least let us tell you a little bit of information. Whether you come to us or not, that's completely optional, but find out what your options are for sure.
Do you get any recommendations from medical doctors and or hospitals?
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we work with a lot of psychiatrists.
Fantastic.
Psych NPs, nurses, doctors' offices throughout the valley. Also, there's a lot of other therapists that have heard of ketamine but don't, or have heard of negative feedback from ketamine clinics that people are just experiencing having the dosing of the medicine but not experiencing the entire integrative process.
You know, I will be honest with you. I mean, you know, I have been in the cannabis industry since 2018. Excuse me. And ketamine still is a little bit of a unknown for even someone like me.
Yeah.
You know, it really is an unknown.
Yeah.
It's an unknown. And so, you know, it's one of those things that you know, there's stigma on it.
Yeah.
There's stigma. There's absolute stigma.
There's more to learn and understand.
And then unfortunately what happens is there's a death that happens, like Matthew Perry, you know, from Friends,
right.
You know, a very well-known actor. And, you know, then word gets out, oh, you know, it was the ketamine, you know, and then there's, you know, the people that gave him the ketamine, they were charged. And the thing is that it probably was not just the ketamine. It probably was a combination of many things. Now I'm jumping to some conclusions here, but the thing is that that's what puts the stigma out there.
Yeah.
There's
always going to be the misuse and abuse of anything that could be beneficial or helpful.
You know, that's what puts the stigma out there.
Thing.
And you know what's so interesting is that, and I know I'm kind of going off course here for just a second, but the funny thing is and I say the funny thing is, this is not funny at all, but I like to watch the old shows of cops. All right? I like it. You know, they're quick and dirty. They're about 25 minutes long, but they all are about getting arrested for weed. They are. They're all getting arrested for weed. Now, most of them are about 10 or 15 years old, but they're all about getting arrested for weed. And I got to tell you, they make our industry look really bad.
Right.
So I understand why there still is so much stigma out there, because, oh no, I didn't hide the weed under. Oh no, I didn't hide it. Oh no, I don't have any weed. Oh no, I don't got any weed on me. Oh no, I don't have any weed on me. And then it's all hidden. And you know, these people are sticking it under the dashboard, and they've got it under their car, and they've got it in their pants, and they've got it in their shoes. And that show in particular, I'm like, dang, that's why we have such bad stigma, is that show right there.
Yeah.
It just really is just the proliferation of just the worst offenses of marijuana. And yet, so, you know, there's stigma. And so, you know, ketamine is still very confusing for a lot of people.
It's not well known yet. It's becoming definitely more well known. The
Yes.
world of psychedelics and the use of therapy to make that really that true breakthrough. That
Yes.
true breakthrough in therapy for chronic PTSD, trauma, depression, anxiety. And when you've been in years and years of therapy and you just kind of hit a brick wall, you know, you've done the work, you know the skills, you have all of that background, but you're just not getting there, or you've been on medication for so many years, side effects from so many different medications. Maybe you're on 5 or 6 different medications. You don't even realize, why am I on the medications? I don't even know anymore, right? To do that work first, to lay the groundwork, and then to say, now I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready for it all to come together. And that's where ketamine is that breakthrough and bridges that gap for it all to come together and to do a ketamine treatment and to wake up from that first treatment. And just some of the responses have been speechless. But other responses have been, I had no idea I could feel this way. I haven't felt this way in 50 years. Or for the first time in X amount of years, the thoughts aren't ruminating. My brain is at peace. My brain is quiet. And then we help to integrate that so that sticks and that stays. That's the therapeutic part that is different, because what does that all mean, and how do you hold that space, and how do you keep that peace long term?
So that person potentially never goes back to those maybe awful feelings or horrible feelings or whatever they may be going through, the sadness, the loneliness, the depression, whatever it might be,
right,
or whatever they've been feeling or going through or harvesting or whatever it might be. So yeah. Oh my gosh.
So in 4 to 6 journeys is the recommended best efficacy rate. 4 to 6 journeys with the integration, you're at about an 80 to 85% long-term benefit and gain.
That is just so amazing. So I'm going to throw just kind of a little bit of a wild question at you.
Sure.
So we have found in cannabis that, you know, the plant and the cannabinoids, we keep finding more scientific, more powerful reasons, more powerful effects that the plant has. Is that also the same with ketamine, that there's even more scientific effects that haven't even been uncovered yet?
Oh, we have no idea.
Okay.
Because we know very little about the brain.
What
10% of the brain is kind of what we know. So when you're talking about a psychedelic or even marijuana or cannabis, when you open the neural network pathways of your brain like that and allow for the neuroplasticity of your brain to be opened and to receive during a state of altered consciousness, you're just in a whole nother space to receive, right? You're just in a whole nother space to understand that the world is so vast, and that what you think is real or not real, or reality or not reality, or your truth or not truth, or your perception or not perception, is just given and allowed a space to rewire and release is still unheard of how that's really truly happening.
And I know we want to get to that in a much deeper dive for sure, because I know we want to go on a podcast for sure together.
Absolutely.
One thing I definitely want to touch on before we close out is, so you have your counseling center here in Tempe, and then are you also doing events?
We do.
Okay.
We do.
And where can everybody find you? We have the guided journeys. So people can find you on your website.
Yep, absolutely. The website is just guidedjourneys.com.
Okay.
Guided Journeys.
And do you have any upcoming events where folks can find you?
Not necessarily right now. We are getting some group events going where we house for professionals. Actually, we're working on getting some group experientials is what we call them.
So more like a corporate event.
Yes, we're like a licensed professional counselor or other doctors or nurses or anything like that want to learn more about ketamine so that they can educate people in their industry. We are doing a professional group experiential.
Oh, that's
and that
excellent.
can be looked up on our website as well.
That is excellent, excellent. And then also IG, so all your social media, you're on
Instagram as well.
Okay,
Facebook,
excellent.
Absolutely. Guided Journeys. Thank you.
Excellent, Stacy. Well, gosh, I am so glad that we jumped on here. I know this is a super, super deep subject, so it's hard to get above the clouds on this one.
We'll make time to talk more.
And all of the journeys that this lady, 28 years of experience. We will definitely be jumping on with her again, but thank you so much for coming onto the show for sure. And
how much fun!
We're going to keep going with the ultimate Women's Expo here in Phoenix at the Convention Center. Tina Tasaka, Cannabis X America.